This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello, and welcome to Her Story, the show to encourage more women to explore the possibility of using their skills and talents by participating in leadership roles within our community. I'm Tiffany James, and I have the pleasure of hosting this program. Her Story is here to encourage women in our community to actively engage and use their voice to bring attention to issues they are passionate about, with the hope that we will all get more involved. Please welcome my guest, Suneet Kukreja. Kukreja, I knew I was going to do that, one of the newest members of the Owen Sound City Council and a newcomer to the area. Suneet immigrated from India with her husband and daughter in 2015. She sits on numerous committees within the community and is a strong voice within our area. Welcome, Suneet. I'm excited to hear about your story. I'm so sorry. I knew I was going to do that, and you even tried to help me.
Tiffany, I really appreciate your invite, and you did fabulous. And thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you for joining me. So can you tell me a little bit about your background? I had the pleasure of interviewing you on a podcast earlier, and you just blew me away with your whole story. So I'm excited to share it with others. So tell me a bit about your background.
Sure. Thank you, Tiffany. Like you introduced me earlier, my name is Suneet Kukreja, and I was born and brought up in northern part of India. And I grew up in a farming household. So my father was a farmer, and I was the oldest of the three siblings. And my father, being a huge advocate of education, he made sure that all his children went to good schools and gained assets in terms of languages. So my background, as far as my academics is concerned, I was a biochemist back home in India. And I oversaw a lab along with my passion to teach in a university in India. And then in around 2015, we decided to migrate to Canada. And you won't believe, I came, I think on the 31st of March, 2015. We landed up from Toronto Pearson to Owen Sound. So I think that was one of the worst winters that had hit Owen Sound with all the pipes freezing. So this is about a little bit about my background. So biochemist in India, and then over here,
Quite the culture shock, I'm sure, from nice warm weather to pipes freezing because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was a little bit of a culture and a climatic shock, I would say. So climate, I'm still not used to the cold over here. And I think that was the best time to come, actually. It acclimatized my brain right away. So we've been here, and I've called Owen Sound my home ever since.
So what made you want to get involved in local politics? What made you want to run for city council?
So Tiffany, this whole agenda of planning to run for the council started when I first moved to Owen Sound in 2015. So, when you move from one community to the other community, and especially as a woman, as an immigrant, it is very hard to get used to a different culture. In India, we drive on the other side of the road. Even driving in Canada was a challenge at that point of time. So the first job that I got was with one of the social services organizations, the YMCA. So working at the front desk over there, I used to meet a lot of people from different spheres of their life. So you would always listen to people with their problems, like people on the roads, like people who are aging. So I would always think, what is it that I can do to assist? Either I could be just a part of the whole agenda where I could just sit and say, no, this is not working. Just like a famous quote from John F. Kennedy, do not think what the country has done for you, what you are doing for the country. So for me, I wanted to be a part of a solution. So, but my language was not there at that point of time. So I used to always think, what is it that I can do different? What is it where I could raise an opinion? Where people like myself, where is it that I could make a point where I could be the voice for people? So it took me 2 years to think and decide. And then finally, last year, when my husband, who's a huge supporter of women empowerment, and he's like, why don't you run for the elections? Like, you come home, you talk about this is the issue, I want to be able to do this. This is an excellent platform. So I think it took me a month to realize, no, I want to do this.
Oh, it's great. It's not always nice to have more women's voices in that level of government. So I was so happy, and especially newcomers to the area too, because it's just. And I have to tell you, I've been a Canadian now for ever, and I'm still not climatized to the weather either. I do not like the cold either.
Yeah.
But who would you say were the main influences in your life? You've mentioned your dad encouraging you with schooling, and then your husband to encouraging you to run for council. Do you have a strong woman in your life that is a influence as well?
And Tiffany, growing up as a teenager, we were always, when you go to school, you always hear stories, news articles, and biographies of women who were more role models at that point of time. So two women whom I really resonate with are Rosa Parks and Mother Teresa. So just reading the biography for Rosa Parks, it just infuses the courage and the commitment to do, like, ordinary people, right? So, but huge change. Then, because I was in India, I did get an opportunity to meet Mother Teresa, I think in early 1990s, 1989, around at that point. She was a walking epic of empathy and kindness. So when you think about people like both of them, right? So it makes you think, like, where are you in the due course of history? So those two women really had a strong impact on my mind. Like, if they could do it, right? They made history. They were ordinary looking people, but they fought for what meant right to them. So those, like, I always wanted to do something with social services, work with people. So do something different, right? And make a mark in this lifetime. We all have one life. So those two women, like, there are huge women empowerment, right? Those two were huge influences in my life. Other than them, I see our mothers, grandmothers, right? Women on the road, women trying to run businesses, small town businesses. So they are all inspirations in themselves.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So what, besides the huge move from India to Canada in 2015, was there any big changes in the trajectory of your life, like from that? Because I don't want to assume, but I assume when you moved to Canada, you weren't able to continue your role in biochemistry. You say you worked with the YMCA, so it turned you more towards social services. Would you say that was a big change, one of the big changes, and got you more involved?
Absolutely, Tiffany. I think you hit the nail at the right point. So when I moved from India, like, we moved for reasons because my husband practiced law, and what he saw was crime all the time, and he wanted a different platform for our daughter, and I only have one so far. So when we first came over here, it was there was no jobs for almost 6 months. So I couldn't find a job for almost 6 months. So I was unemployed for that long period of a time. And my husband worked as a security guard at the marina at the same time, trying to write his challenge exams for his law because he really wanted to be a lawyer here in Canada. So at that point of time, and there were not a whole lot of supports for immigrants or newcomers in our areas. But what was there, what was different about this community was the support and the love and the kindness of everybody whom I came across. So the first thing, I think I took my resume at the rec center, and the woman at the desk, she is like, oh, I walked away and she came right after me. And she's like, honey, you don't have your cover letter and a form. And did I know that I have to fill the cover letter and a form? No. So she called me 3 times to correct my resume according to Canadian standards.
Oh, wow.
Who does that, right? But there was a woman standing there trying to support another woman, right? So again,
Mm-hmm.
true woman inspiration. So I filled up and I got that job as a part-time instructor, part-time front desk. So then I got involved with a lot of other social causes that the YMCA deals with, be it assistance memberships. You would deal with people who would come from all spheres of life, right? People who might be financially independent, not financially independent. Then
Mm-hmm.
changed my job position with the YMCA settlement sector. And again, it's a social service. There again, you see people who are from racialized, marginalized communities, right? We shared the office with YMCA housing at that point of time. And you see people who are at that bad point of their lives, right? Where they're struggling to find sustainable housing or even a roof on their heads. So all these things, and I'm like, okay, Suneet, you were fortunate that you had help here. You were accepted by this community with open arms. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to give back, right? So that was a huge turning point for my life as well. And my daughter was grown up at that point of time. She is 18 now,
Oh,
and
wow.
my husband is pretty supportive. So if you don't have support from your home as a woman, it is very hard to go and do
Yeah.
what you want to do, right? So I think that was a huge changing point in my life where I'm like, okay, so it took me around 2 years to get my brain sorted to what I
Mm.
wanted to do. But it was a
Uh,
huge change moving from India to Owen Sound and then trying to do what you want to do.
Absolutely, and a change in your career path and everything as well. Are you still involved in the Y Settlement Service program?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the other thing when I came, like because I was a biochemist and I desperately wanted to do something with my profession, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I went to school for. And that's what I wanted to do. So I took up a part-time job at Georgian College, teaching at that point of time the academic upgrading and power engineering stream. So, and at
Okay.
that time, settlement happened. So I still do part-time college and I still work as the manager for the Grey Blue Settlement and Language Services. So,
Okay.
but I think for me, and I think that comes with, and that's women empowerment is something that I am totally an advocate of. And I say to all the other women out there that if I can do it, like everybody can.
Yeah. It's nice to hear how you were welcomed within the community because it is a welcoming. We sort of are uh we say we're stranded here in Owen Sound, kind of, because it's 2 hours to any major
Yeah,
city source. So we do become a close-knit community. And to hear your story of how you
absolutely.
were welcomed in and to hear how women supported you on that journey is fabulous. Um, what motivates you now? What motivated you then? That's I it's like starting over again. Like my props to you and your husband. That is just it's such a I don't know if I would be able to do that. So that's just amazing. So what motivates you now? Because that was a big move.
So, what keeps me going, Tiffany, is like I said, 2 years of my life here in Canada were a real big time struggle because you're away from your family, you are disconnected from your roots, there are no familiar roads, there are no familiar smells, there are no familiar
Mm,
comfort zones, right? So, everybody is, and I don't have any other family here, right? So
hmm.
one of the motivation was I made all my friends, which are very dear to my heart, all the people that I come across in the day-to-day life are the people who have been here and whom I've made all brand new experiences coming here. Right? For me, I didn't know a single soul when I came to Owen Sound 8 years back. So now I think I have made bonds and connections with a lot of community members over here who are at different spheres of their life. And each time I meet with them, I bond with them, it is a true motivation in itself. They motivate you, right? So
Hmm.
even for myself, as a role in my management position or as a role at the council, I strongly, because I am constantly being motivated by the peers around me, right? So I take it personally to motivate. all the people whom I come across with. So I think it is just that positive vibe and the positive energy that I have around me that keeps me motivated and going and doing what
I think that goes back to you talking about Mother Teresa and the empathy and kindness, because when I can see that come from you as well. So that is wonderful. What you said what led you to be involved in politics. How would you encourage someone else who's looking to get involved in politics, another newcomer to the area? And I do want to talk about the mentor program that you have started at the settlement services too, because I think that is fantastic. So actually, could we talk a little bit about that? Because we do see more and more newcomers to the area. So I would like to give them a little bit of opportunity to know about the mentor program.
Absolutely. And I think mentoring and volunteering is one of the best things we as community members and as community partners can do to give to the community, right? Mm-hmm. So at Settlement Services, we do have a mentorship program where if there are individuals who are new to the area, and they can be newcomers, or they can be somebody who's come from another city but is looking for a similar job site over here, but does not know from where to start. So say it's a dentist or engineer who's come from, say, India, Pakistan, or any other countries and has all the right skills, but does not know right from where to start. So we do have a mentorship program under where we connect them with people who have walked that path, right? Who've been there, right? But now they're successfully employed with the same skill set. So we connect them with the individuals, and then they become the guides or the mentors and hold their hand and guide them. So it's the information that matters, right? So when you're new to an area or new to a country, every little piece of advice that you can get from the people who have walked that path, lived experience matters. So I think it's a wonderful program that is definitely making a difference in the lives of individuals who seek employment in something that they've gained over time. They might have spent 10 years going to the college, learning the same skill set, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for a newcomer to the area, how would they find out about the program? Or for someone in the area that wants to be a mentor, how do they do that?
So they can contact the settlement services. So, or they can reach out, they can email me directly. My email is Suneet.Kukreja. That's my first name, last name, at OSGB, which is Owen Sound Grey Bruce, .ymca.ca. Or they can just stop in at any of the YMCA locations, or they can Google YMCA Owen Sound and look for the settlement services page.
And are you still teaching at the college as well, Suneet?
Yes, I teach Tuesday and Thursday evenings at the college, Tiffany. So because that's food to my brain, it keeps my brain, like, learning is, again, like, coming back to that question, right? So learning is lifelong. So if we want to be successful in our lives, I think education has the power to transform lives. So I'm a firm believer of that. So I continue to do my bit, right, where I can motivate people, where I can hold their hands into their journey, inspire them to do something better or get that skill set, which I have, and I can transfer that skill set to someone. So that also keeps me happy.
Do you have any free time, Suneet? That's my next question.
Not really, Tiffany.
No. So what advice would you give a woman looking to get involved in politics, or even a newcomer to the area that might be, a little trepidatious, taken aback, saying, my voice isn't going to be heard. Why would I do this? Because your first time running for city council, and you made it on the council, and it's just great, and it's lovely to have that voice on council. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So
thank you so much, Tiffany, for saying that. And when I did, so I'm sharing this here now. So when I did fill in my nominations, and I'm like, I was so scared even to go door-to-door campaigning because I'm like, I don't know whether I should be ringing someone's doorbell. People may yell at me, right? So again, and an answer to your question is, right, my best advice that I would like to give any woman, right, is that remember that you guys are mothers, right? You are organizers, you are mentors, you are wives, your daughters. So, and you are entrepreneurs in your own aspect, you are teachers. So I think with all those qualifications that we are born with, right? So listen to your skills, right? I would say that play to your strengths and make your strengths in such a way, identify your strengths so that with those strengths, you can work on your weaknesses later. There is, and ask questions. There is nothing like a wrong question. Again, the teacher in me kicks in sometimes. Like, there is nothing wrong with asking questions. No question is a wrong question, right? Ask questions. Believe in yourself. If you want to do something, just like we all say, charity begins at home. So if we in this lifetime, we need to inspire, we need to love ourselves first as women. We need to love ourselves, we need to respect ourselves, we need to believe in ourselves. If we believe in ourselves, then we are going to work on our emotional intelligence. Work on your emotional intelligence. And there are doors that will open for you where, and you can achieve whatever you want. So these are few pieces of advice that I would give it to people who are inspiring to get into leadership roles. And I think who are already in the leadership role, I think the best piece of advice I could give is connect with your mentors, right? Connect with people who have walked that path, right? Learn from their experiences. Read about biographies of women leaders. Like we have, I mean, the list goes on and on, like Marie Curie, if you talk about that, Angela Merkel, Mother Teresa, Indira Gandhi, Malala, like it's endless.
Yes, absolutely. What have you learned in your first, I guess, almost half year of council now? What are yeah? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your role? What are you can say some frustrations if you want, but you don't have to. But what have you learned?
So, Tiffany, one of the major learning curves for me was that not all problems can be solved at the city level. So, which is really frustrating and annoying, and I get it. And as a layman, I was in the same boat. When something would not work right, I would say, oh, damn, what is the city doing about it, right?
Yeah.
But now when you become a part of the system, you realize that your hands are tired at either the federal level or your provincial level, right? So that was an eye-opener for me. And what I'm still learning is, because if you need to do justice to the profession in which you're elected, with power comes great responsibility, right? So I am fiscally responsible for any of the decision makings that I do. But to be able to do justice to that, I need to read a lot, right? So I have to still fill in the gaps in my knowledge, which I'm doing. So that's the frustration is not everything can be solved at our municipal level because there are so many layers of government and politics that are involved, and which is a very frustrating thing in itself. And second is our population base, because we are a small population. So the other frustration is our tax base. Like, none of us want our taxes to go up, right? So that's another frustration. Every time we talk about the budget or the taxes, I'm like, oh my God. So
are you enjoying it though? Are you
yes,
loving it? Are you happy with your choice to run? And do you,
absolutely. I think I am glad I did that because I personally feel that I might not have the answer or solutions to every problem, but in my heart, I have peace that I'm part of the solution to that problem, right? that I'm trying my best to find a solution to a problem. I'm not just sitting at home and grumbling about it. So I am making a difference. I am filling the hopes, gaps in my knowledge. I am the voice for some of the newcomers that I work with, right? So
Yeah.
I can bring a diverse perspective as a marginalized communities from, as a woman, I can bring up that perspective, right? And I feel confident that my voice is heard, so which is a good thing. And I'm not just sitting on my couch and yelling my lungs aloud that, this is not working for me. I am there. I am making a difference in the community. So I'm happy with that part. But I think it's still a learning curve. So with each year, it's becoming better in my own knowledge. And I am hopeful that for the reasons I chose, I'm able to do justice to them.
Amazing. I don't know if there's any unexplored territory that you haven't gone down, but I'm going to ask this question anyway, because what is something that piques your interest that you have yet to explore?
Something that really piques my interest is I'm a very diehard fan of art. So I don't know if a lot of people do not know that about me, but because of my busy schedule, and when we moved to Canada, it was like a teenager being kicked out of your house and your comfort zone, right? Go fend for yourself. So never got that chance to do that. So something which I really want to do is explore art, right? Or do a documentary on diverse art pieces and something like that. So maybe when I retire or stuff like that, I'll spend more time pursuing this passion. And then,
do you want to try your hand at creating the art, or do you want to, or do you just like studying the art?
Studying the art, reading about it, I could paint a fair bit about it. So I do have that eye for it, but never got a chance to explore it, right? Even we have such a huge resource, the art gallery here. But do I get a chance to go and visit it? No.
I'm surprised you have time in your schedule for us today. I'm sure it's packed. I'd hate to see your calendar. Well, we're almost out of time, Suneet. I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Just like I said when we did our podcast, you're so inspiring. What advice would you give someone who's trying to find their voice, who's trying to find their way?
I think the one advice that goes for anybody who is trying to find their voice is just believe in yourself, right? Life may throw you off, but again, be like the phoenix who can rise back from the ashes. And we all have the ability to do that. If I can do it, if I can change 2 continents, learn a new language, learn a new culture, learn new skills, I think everybody who's here, each one of us are gifted. Just follow your heart. Just follow your heart. Just do it.
Thank you so much, Suneet, for joining me today on Her Story. I'm going to end the program with a quote from the great Maya Angelou. I feel this reminds me of you, so I hope you enjoy it. When you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel a sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better.
True. Very well said that.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
I'm Carol Merton. Please join me for HealthLink, a program connecting home, community, and healthcare. Please join me and watch HealthLink on Rogers TV.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injuries to themselves and others, and